Hey guys, this is Phil with winMoJo coming at you. Long time no talk. We're going to be upgrading my ASUS K53e laptop, which has been my primary daily workhorse for the last 3 years. This laptop has been nothing but great. I have nothing bad to say about this laptop. The only thing I could even nitpick on this thing is that the letters on the keys have worn off in spots, but only on two, the S key and the L key, surprisingly. So I have not loaded this laptop again since originally purchasing it. I kept it upgraded. I've run C cleaner on it to keep the registry clean, and but you still install and uninstall stuff. You upgrade software. So over time, Windows will collect things in the apps data folder that are no longer on the system. There'll be files laying around in there that just tend to generally take up space on the hard drive and slow down the performance of the machine. So we're going to try reloading this with tonight, but we're also going to throw in the solid state drive. Now, the solid state drive that I decided to go with, you can see here, is the Samsung 840 EVO. It is one of the nicer 500 gig solid state drives, and it was on sale with Newegg. I think I got it for $230, and I had a 10% off coupon. So I got a little bit of money off there to basically cover the shipping. So that was nice. 2-day shipping, which UPS waited till the last darn minute today to get it here, but that's the way it goes. And then this device here, I'm borrowing from a friend. This is so that we can hook up the existing hard drive once we have it out, and we can use the USB to connect it back in case there's any files I need to get off there. I have backed up all my files already. I've made a complete list of all the applications I want to reload onto the laptop. And I've basically leveraged my OneDrive through Microsoft and my Dropbox to put files on there that I don't want necessarily to be lost. I have also backed up all my music and videos and things to the server here in the house. So I'm going to actually boot the laptop. We're going to time it from the time I push the power button to the time it actually comes up. And I'll give you those numbers. I'm not going to make you watch that because it'll be a little bit. And then, that'll be once all the widgets are available and ready to go. And at the end of the process, after I've reinstalled all my software, everything's done, we'll do that process again and see what kind of gains we had. Now, not a completely fair apples to apples kind of comparison. We're trying to show how much faster the solid state drive is to the laptop. To the mechanical drive rather. But, there's a good possibility that just a clean install of Windows will also boot a lot faster. So I'm just putting that out there for full disclosure, so we're not cooking the books here. So, okay, guys, it has been 5 minutes and give or take 5 seconds. So that's when my final desktop widget loaded. That usually indicates it's ready to go. I had to right click on the desktop because originally I thought something was wrong because it wasn't loading, but it just was being slow. As you can see, it's still technically refreshing some of these icons along the bottom here. And the hard drive light is still running. So I'm going to say that it's probably usable at this point, but this is part of the reason I have been considering reloading the laptop at this point. It definitely has some lag in the boot up time, and even using the ASUS onboard boot tool, it has not shown great improvement. So I'm going to unplug the network cable here. And sorry, I'm doing this with my phone with one hand and working with the other. I know it's a little shaky. I apologize. Thought about tripod mounting my other camera and doing it that way, but oh, come on, what fun is that? Let's make people seasick. And if you don't make people seasick, there's nothing to bitch about in the comments. If you're just helping people out and teaching them something, they don't have anything to complain about. So we got to give them something to complain about. So, all right. So first steps first, we're going to flip the laptop over here onto its back. And for starters, we're going to take out the battery. Now, I put a piece of tape over my serial code here for Windows. I don't particularly want that out on the internet. It's Windows 7 Home Edition, but still, I don't need to have problems if I ever need to reload this again. But the thing I wanted to point out here was there's two screws that we're going to be dealing with, one here and one over here. But for starters, let's take this battery off. Okay, the battery's off. We're going to take and put that aside. That's the original battery too. Now, I will say that my next upgrade probably will be in the replacement battery, just because that battery is not running as long as it probably should, being that it is the 56 rather watt hour battery. That should be running a little longer than it is. Now, I have two screwdrivers here. I have your standard size screwdriver, my old trusty Craftsman screwdriver, and then I have the little bit smaller one. This is the one we actually need. These screws are pretty small, and then we're going to go ahead and take these out. See again if I can do this one-handed, left-handed no less. I'm right-handed, so that's probably the stupid hand to be holding the camera with. But we'll take these two screws out, and let's see, there's one. And then we maybe some creative editing in this video to, you know, really give you guys the opportunity to not have to suffer through watching somebody unscrew something. That sounds pretty boring to me. I have these, these candles around the house that have these little glass jars around them. These lids make great screw holders, and these screws are tiny, so you're gonna want to put them. You see, it's tiny. You don't want to put that in there so that you don't lose it. Believe me, story of my life. I'm looking for one screw. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get this other screw out, and then I'll show you guys the next step. Hey, okay, both screws are out. We're going to take this panel, and we're going to slide it forward and lift it off. Now, you'll notice here's your memory. So if you can upgrade your memory, here's where you'll be doing that. I want to say this is the wireless controller. I'm pretty sure that's the case, but I am not positive. So don't hold me to that one. Mine looks like it's missing a screw, which that's not good. There's a screw missing right up there. So I don't know what that's all about. This is the hard drive. Now this has got 4 screws as well. One here, one here, one here, and one here. So we're going to take this whole assembly out. Once we take the screws out, we're going to push this whole tray this direction, and then we'll lift out like that. And I will show you guys that in 1 second. I have removed the 4 screws. The big difference with those screws, I don't know if you can see this, the 2 that came out of the actual case there have thread lock on them. So the ones that we took out to take the plastic body off have the thread lock. The other ones look like they're just a teeny tiny bit skinnier. I could be wrong. They could be exactly the same size. It's very deceptive with these little bad boys, but that's how you tell them apart. If you're not sure, get a couple little Tupperware containers and put them in separate ones and mark them with a piece of tape or a little piece of paper. Just write on it and drop it in there. All right, so to get this hard drive out, we're going to take this, again, one-handed. I'm pulling it this way, then I'm going to lift it out. And there it is. There's the little hard drive. Now, we'll have to take it off this mount. There's 4 screws, 2 on each side. And then we will drop our solid state drive in there. Okay guys, we have taken the mechanical hard drive out and out of the sleeve here, and we've put the solid state in. Wow, what a difference in weight between these two. I mean, it's noticeable. It is very noticeable when I pick them up. And we're going to take really good care because there's nothing wrong with this. It's still got all my data on it, my full Windows installs on there. Every file I need is on this drive. I don't have to go necessarily pulling it back off my server over the network. I can just hook this into this USB connector that we talked about earlier, and I can spin that drive right up, plug it into the USB port once I've loaded all the new things onto the solid state drive, and transfer everything back. So I can say right now that I am liking this sexy black color here. It matches the hard drive. I mean, it matches the laptop to the hard drive. I'll never see this again once I put it in, but that's the way it goes. These screws are very short in depth, and you don't go cranking these down really hard. You want them in snug, but don't overdo it. So we're just going to drop this right back in here, and I think I'll probably just walk it in this way. Again, I'm not left-handed, so you guys are not getting the best of my dexterity here. Okay, there we go. That's it. Just clip back in. I have to put these 4 screws back in and put the plastic fairing piece back on top. Note, before I got the tape on here, I took a picture with my cell phone camera of the label. So I have a picture of my code so that when I flip the laptop back over and when I'm installing Windows, I don't have to keep flipping it over to put the code in. So that's a little shortcut trick I like to use. And you can scribble it down on a piece of paper, but I'm just too lazy. So I'm going to screw this all back together, and we'll be back when I flip it over. Before I finish screwing this down, I want to talk about a couple tools I like to keep on hand, specifically for working with laptops, but it's handy for all computers. A good pair of tweezers is your friend with these little screws, and I'm going to show you why in a second. An X-Acto knife is another one, because there's always some kind of damn tape on a box whenever you buy a component. You got to cut the box, so you got to cut the little piece of tape off to get at it. Sometimes you need to trim off little scrap pieces of material, so I keep an X-Acto around. I keep these smaller eyeglass screwdrivers around, but I'll be honest, mostly just the standard set of Phillips head screwdrivers will do the trick, and a good nut driver for your bigger computers. But let me show you how I'm using the tweezers. I'm going to try and do this with one hand again. I like to actually take the tweezers. These little holes are not that, they're not that deep. So, when you're first starting to screw, you want to grab it like this and hold it. See if I can get in there enough of the light. Oh, it's going to be tough. All right, well, let's try this. Let's try this one. Hang on. Okay, I like to see if I can get this to focus. I apologize. I like to hold it like this while I'm screwing it down with the other hand so the screw doesn't get cross-threaded and it doesn't fall out of the hole and fall into the machine. So just a little tip I wanted to give you before I finish. The laptop's back together. We're going to push the power button, and you're going to see that not a whole lot happens because guess what? I don't have an OS in there. So now we get to do my favorite thing, which is load Windows. And I say that quite facetiously. However, I have two options here with this machine. We're going to power this back off. I have two options with the machine. I have the original discs that came with the computer back 3 years ago that has all of Windows Home 7 64-bit edition and has all the ASUS tools and things that shipped with the laptop. Now, I am not a fan of pre-installed operating systems on computers. They load a lot of bloatware with those things usually. Even when they're best intentioned bloatware, it's stuff that you don't need, and you'll find that 3 years later that stuff is so far behind you have to update it all anyway to have it even be secure. So we got enough work to do as it is. Now, this does have a CD-ROM drive in it. That's all fine and dandy, but the real way to go on this is to load off of a thumb drive. And I think I'll do a whole tutorial on how to create a whole Windows install image on a thumb drive, but I have already done this, and these have been sitting in my little pack of discs that I keep for reinstalling machines for some time now. I have never gone from USB to a solid state. I've only gone USB to a mechanical drive, or I've gone CD-ROM to a solid state drive. So this will be interesting. So give me a second to get the right one, and then we will go through the process. I will not show you the entire install, but I will tell you how long it takes to get Windows installed off of the USB key. Through the magic of editing, I had to go through both the drives and figure out which one was the home install and which one was the pro install, because I neglected to label them before. So I have labeled them now. I took some white electrical tape and a couple of Sharpies, real high tech, as you can see. I'm not printing fancy labels on my color printer and then taping them on like I should or something. But I just have to be able to tell which one's which. So let's talk about how the heck. Let's say you have this, but you want to get your system to boot from this. Well, that's where we go into our BIOS. So when I start up, I hit the delete key, not fast enough clearly. So we'll try it again. Tap the delete key. And there comes my BIOS. So what you're gonna wanna do is go over to, and I don't know how this is gonna pan out, guys. We'll go over to the boot menu here, and we'll go down to hard drive. Let's see, well, in this case, my system's set up to look for a USB bootable device. You may have to set in your BIOS to do that, but apparently with the new BIOS that I just flashed on this machine the other day, and again, that's kind of an advanced thing. I wanted to make sure I had it done before I tried to do this, because there was again, being 3 years old, I had the very old BIOS. I had the 216 BIOS. The new BIOS for this is 221, and BIOS, for those of you that don't know, it's the first set of instructions that your computer looks at when it boots to tell it, where everything is, where everything's located, how to talk to the controllers. I'm really dumbing this down, but the idea is that it's like the little micro OS that your machine first gets before it ever looks for anything else. So that's where we're at. So we're just going to escape out of mine. Well, before we do that, let's take the drive. Let's plug it in. Oh, and even somebody like me who's done this a gazillion times cannot put the USB drive in right the first time. So let's quit without saving, because we don't want to change anything there. And then we're going to Control-Delete it to make it do its little search. And you will see that it goes straight to Windows is loading files. So here's where we go. I will time this and get back to you. All right, guys. 5 minutes and 37 seconds, and I am at the screen where it's asking me for my username and the name of the computer 5 minutes and 37 seconds to go from USB to solid state to load Windows 7. Now, granted, we're not quite at the Windows 7 desktop yet, but I've done a lot of loads, and this is impressive as hell, I just gotta say. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue on here, and we'll get back to you guys when we've got all the actual drivers for the machine updated, all the applications that I want installed, all the updates run, and then we will time our boot. But holy smokes, that was impressive. Okay, guys, I'll back at you in a minute. Hey guys, I'm gonna give you a quick cheat here, and I'll show you why hooking this hard drive up to this device, the old hard drive, was particularly interesting to me when I started thinking about reloading this machine. So every time you install Windows, you've got some proprietary devices that require special software, okay? Drivers particularly. So we're going to update our driver for this particular PCI Simple controller. And this time we're going to browse my computer. Now, if you look at this path, F/Windows/System32, that is the path to that drive where my old Windows was. So I have the correct driver in that old Windows folder. I don't need to go download it or anything. It's right there. I just have to get it, right? So all of your drivers are stored in the Windows System32 folder. So the latest driver will be there. So I'm going to go ahead and click next, and it's going to search, and it's going to find that driver and install it. So all of these little yellow icons, if I can move this out of the way here, all of these icons here that are yellow, that means it doesn't have the driver. Well, when you right click on those, well, let me do it right now. But you right click on it and you say update driver, it gives you that screen. If you put that path in there to whatever your drive letter is, if you have one of these devices hooked up to USB, it will let you actually search that folder and it will find the driver. And as you can see there, Intel Management Engine Interface has been installed. So let's see if we can move that back over and we'll close it. And guess what? Bam thud is gone from the yellow box. Now that leaves us one, the SM bus controller. I'm going to update the driver. Again, I'm going to browse my computer locally. I'm going to go to that special path. I'm going to hit next. And away we go. It's going to find it, and I have all of my drivers installed. First step, don't have to go download anything from ASUS. Everything's there, everything's working. Pretty excited about that. It worked as planned. Windows is running its updates in the background because it now has the network cable hooked in and the driver is installed, so it knows it can start downloading this stuff. I'm going to restart anyway since I have the driver. And then we're going to talk about, in a future episode of winMoJo, which I'm going to try and start doing again. We'll see how often I can do them. But we're going to talk about a tool called Slim Drivers. And there's my mug in the reflection of the computer screen. So yeah, that's my big bald head and my unshaven face. So we will talk more as I keep going. Later. All right, guys, it's been 24 hours and I have reloaded the laptop completely with everything I normally use on the laptop. And I thought, the more I thought about it, the more I thought this is a very unfair test because a mechanical drive cleanly loaded would obviously boot faster than the mechanical drive that was previously loaded and not so clean. So I literally imaged the exact same image from the SSD to the mechanical drive, booted it a few times to give it a chance to get all the drivers updated and all that good stuff for the mechanical piece. And now we're going to look and see how long it takes for the mechanical drive, the original mechanical drive, back on the laptop to reboot. And then we're going to compare that to the SSD. So this is apples to apples comparison, completely clean. This took me a lot of extra time, so I'm pushing the power button and here we go, and I will get back to you guys with how long it took. All right, guys, it is 4 minutes and 15 seconds into the boot here, and we still do not have the final, there it goes, the widget has loaded. The hard drive is still chugging along, but I think at this point I could probably launch a program. Let's take a look, see what happens. Maybe tied up still. Nope, it's asking me for permission. So I think at this point we could say it's safe that the machine is usable at 4 minutes and 15 seconds. Not a significant gain from where we started from the original mechanical specs with the quote-unquote dirty hard drive. So that program popped up pretty quick, though. It is an improvement, and the performance does seem better. So Let us now compare the time of boot to the SSD with the exact same image. Okay, we'll be back. Okay, guys, I pushed the power button and logged in with my password, and 24 seconds have gone by so far. All my widgets are loaded. Everything is running. I can launch an application, and it's only 36 seconds in. It's already prompting me. So what took us before over 4 minutes, we can do in less than a minute. So 45 seconds from the time that I pushed the power button to the time I launched the application and closed it. So you can see the power of the SSD here is really a big deal. Matter of fact, I ran the Windows tool that determines all the applications and hardware and where your slowest component is. The hard drive, when it was mechanical, was the slowest component. It's now the fastest component. So I think this proves out that the SSD is going to serve me quite well here moving forward in all my endeavors as far as launching applications and running them. So, okay, guys, so I think it's safe to say that we have successfully installed the SSD, and the SSD is the way to go. There's nothing left but to add the sticker to the case. I'm Phil Olson. Thanks for watching winMoJo, and we will catch you next time. Until then, enjoy your PC.